built something on Instagram or in a Facebook group or inside a network marketing company, maybe all three, and somehow none of it feels like it actually belongs to you. And you're not imagining that feeling. It's not because you didn't work hard enough. It's because you were never taught to build anything that was actually yours. You were taught to build inside someone else's system, on someone else's platform, maybe with someone else's script. And here's what that costs you. Every time something changes, the algorithm, the company, the platform, you're back at zero. Not because you failed, but because the foundation was never yours to begin with. So I've been exactly where you are. And today I'm going to show you what building something that actually belongs to you looks like, and the specific shift that changes everything. So I want to tell you about a course I took on doing affiliate marketing on Facebook. The guy that was teaching it came from the corporate world. So big deals, long hours, and eventually he burned out and left. His whole strategy on Facebook was built around posting stories daily, getting conversations in the DMs, and then getting somebody on a sales call. And he had scripts he would use as well. And it worked for him, still working for him as far as I know. And for me as an introvert, getting someone on a call was painful from start to finish. Like, I don't typically do phone calls with my closest people, let alone strangers on the internet. So on top of that, I realized pretty quickly how much I genuinely dislike Facebook as a platform. So I was trying to implement a strategy built for an extroverted corporate negotiator who loves a deal, and I am none of those things. That was just one course that I purchased, and I've bought a lot of them. Each time something wasn't working, I'd look for the next strategy that might finally click. Sometimes the platform was wrong for me. Sometimes the tactics were just more complicated than I needed. Sometimes it just wasn't a fit for how I'm actually wired. And I want to say something about that phase because I think it gets a bad rap. Buying courses and trying different strategies is not failure. It's how most of us figure out what we believe, what fits, what absolutely doesn't. And there's a lot of throwing shit at the wall in the early stages of building anything. That's not wasted time, it's research. The shift happens when you stop looking for someone else's system to be the answer and you start using everything you've learned to build something that's actually yours. So I finally told myself that if the next course isn't the secret I've been looking for, I'm going to stop. Well, it wasn't. And that was the moment that I stopped looking for someone else's system to save me, and I started figuring out what actually fit me. So here's what I think is actually going on when nothing seems to stick. Every strategy you've tried was built by someone else for their personality, their platform, their way of showing up. And when you try to run someone else's playbook and it doesn't fit who you are, it's pretty obvious. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because it was not ever built for you in the first place. And I'm not saying you can't learn from other people's programs or strategies. You absolutely can. And good ones are worth every penny. But a strategy built for someone else's personality, platform, and energy will always feel like someone wearing someone else's clothes. Like they might technically fit, but never quite right. And you'll know it every time you sit down to implement it. It's not just the tactics either, it's the platforms. If you've built your audience on Instagram or Facebook or inside a company's ecosystem, that audience isn't fully yours. So when the platform changes or the company shifts, you don't automatically take those relationships with you. You're starting over because the ground you built on belongs to someone else. What changes everything is finding an approach that actually fits how you're wired. And that starts with knowing who you are and what you stand for before you try to plug into anyone else's system. So until that's clear, the cycle's going to keep repeating. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're building on a foundation that was never designed to hold you specifically. So what does it look like to finally build something that doesn't reset every time something changes? Well, it starts with deciding what you actually stand for. Not what your company stands for, not what your favorite course creator stands for, what you believe about the problem that your people are dealing with, in your own words and from your own experience. So for me, that moment came when I stopped buying other people's systems and I just started talking. I went live on YouTube for 30 days straight. I wore the same outfit every time so I wouldn't overthink it. No script, nobody watching, just me figuring out what I actually had to say when there was no one else's framework to hide behind. And what came out of that was mine, my perspective, my lane, my way of seeing what's broken in the way women build online businesses. And it wasn't borrowed from anyone, not assembled from 17 different courses, just what I actually thought. And that's where your foundation starts, not in someone else's program, in what's already yours. And then you build things that belong to you, like an email list that travels with you regardless of what platform you're on, a lead magnet that reflects your specific perspective, a community space that you own and control, content that lives somewhere long enough to actually compound. None of that requires a new course. It requires getting honest about who you are, what you stand for, and building from there instead of from someone else's blueprint. So here's what I want you to hear before you go. You haven't been starting over because you're not capable of building something real. You've been starting over because everything you've built so far has been on ground you don't own. The fix isn't another strategy, it's a foundation. Your lane, your message, your assets, your visibility, built from your perspective in your own voice on platforms you control. That's what stops the cycle. And if you want to know exactly where your foundation gaps are right now, like what you have, what's missing, and what to build first, the Authority Audit will show you. It's free, walks you through all 4 foundations, and it tells you specifically what to work on next. The link is in the description, and I'd love it if you drop me a comment before you go. Have you ever bought a course hoping it was going to be the magic bullet? Tell me about it. I promise you are not alone, and there is zero judgment here. And if you found this valuable, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.